Snout Spout is an elephant man, and you press on his back and you fill him up with water. Snout Spout. Then you can go and shoot your wife, Snout Spout.
I told you to stop that.
Hey guys, welcome back inside of the Plastic Planet. I'm your host Nick Nack, hanging out with you guys tonight. Guys, I know it's been a little longer than a hot minute since the last time I uploaded a video, but I am back tonight. I'm going to do something kind of easy to kind of ease myself back into making videos for you guys. I'm going to do my very favorite kind of video, and that's just kind of give you guys a little bit of a vlog style-esque video of just showing off some of the shit that I have been up to here in the Plastic Planet collectible wise, because it's been a hell of a month, guys. It's been a hell of a month. The reason why I haven't been able to be on top of the channel this last month and going back to the end of March is I had a lot of shit happen. Number one, I had to buy my youngest son a brand new car. Well, a brand new car, new to us anyway, a nice used car, but that took some bandwidth. But that was successful, and he has his driver's license and is driving now, and that's really, really awesome for me, because for the first time in 19 years, I am not a chauffeur for children, so that is really, really cool. Then we got a nastygram. Yeah, we got a nastygram from our HOA, our Homeowners Association, saying we had to paint our house, so that was a nice $4,500 humdinger in the face, but the house looks really nice now, and so I guess it's not all bad. So we did get that taken care of, and then on top of all that, as you guys know, if you're a longtime viewer or subscriber of the channel, you know I love my aqua babies. I love fish, and I have a giant pond outside in the backyard. Well, that pond just got a lot bigger because the liner on my old pond broke, gave in, and was leaking, and I had to replace it. See, guys, when you do a fish pond, it's best not to do a $60 liner. Go for the rubber 45 millimeter expensive one that costs about $600, because the $60 one will break on you. And I found that out the hard way. Fuck around and find out. Sometimes I cut corners because, guys, I gotta, spend money on collectibles. So I cut corners in other areas of my life, and sometimes it bites me in the ass. And this time it bit me big time, but the pond looks awesome right now. So I'm really, really pleased with that. Here it is in the dark. Here's some stills of it during the day, and I'll get out there and show you guys how it's looking here another time. But anyway, guys, like I said, we got some cool shit to get around to tonight. I got some cool shit down here in the arcade/archive room. I've got a ton of Star Wars shit I got to get to, but we're going to do that in another video. In fact, I got a large Star Wars video coming for you guys in the next couple days here. That's going to be really, really awesome, so stay tuned for that. But for tonight, we're just going to keep it easy tonight. Keep it easy on me, because, again, I need to kind of ease back into making videos, and one of my very favorite ways of making videos is just doing a casual vlog video. And so I'm going to be showing you guys off some awesome shit, including this dude right here. This is going to be rad.
Why did you ring my bell? What would you like?
Oh, I just wanted to hear what it sounded like, that's all.
Well, it isn't there for your novelty, you know.
Oh, it isn't?
It's only if you need it.
Alrighty, guys. Well, first and foremost tonight, guys, check it out. I have added a 1/1 scale Oscar the Grouch to my collection. This is one of the coolest things I have ever bought collectible-wise. I have to profess. It's just really, really cool, and it's something that I've secretly kind of always wanted. I didn't know I always wanted a life-size puppet of Oscar the Grouch, but he was my very favorite character on Sesame Street growing up. My inner 4-year-old is ecstatic to own this dude, and he is absolutely gorgeous. I absolutely love him so much. A little bit of a story behind him. Found him on eBay, spent about $300 on the puppet itself. And, well, I got the puppet, and, what are you going to do with the puppet? You got to put it in something. I'm not a puppeteer. I'm not going to play with it. So I needed to get him on display. So I used an old tripod from one of my old lights that I used here on the Plastic Planet that I originally bought for the channel, but I never used. So I put him on that tripod, and then I needed a trash can for him. Well, that wasn't easy. Finding trash cans in 2024 that resemble, something that looked like out of 1970, so 1972, 1973 was not easy, because they don't make 20-gallon trash cans anymore that look like the same trash can that they used on Sesame Street. So I ended up going online, and this might be the dumbest or the coolest things I've ever bought off eBay, but I spent $100 shipped for a banged up, nasty ass 1970s vintage trash can, and that's exactly what I have him in here right now. I didn't have to do any kind of weathering on this at all, nothing. It just came this way. I did, however, seal the inside of it using a basically sort of an acrylic sealant, just so it's not nasty in there. Not that it smelled or anything. The guy who sold it to me, did clean it out and did scrub it out with a wire brush. But I went ahead and I basically sealed it with some acrylic sealant, and now it actually kind of smells kind of good. But anyway, yeah, Oscar looks absolutely fantastic. Again, he's just a big old puppet sitting in there, and I got the lid propped up behind him. I'd like to figure out a way to put a hinge on the lid, much like the original prop was. The original trash can prop for Sesame Street is actually in the Smithsonian, which is really, really cool. And so I went online and found photos of that and kind of used it a little bit as a reference when I was shopping for a trash can. But I think he turned out really, really freaking awesome. Again, yeah, Sesame Street was a big part of my childhood, my early childhood, I should add. Between Sesame Street and Star Wars, I lived in my own little world when I was a little guy, and so yeah, absolutely, just am ecstatic to have Oscar here in the collection, and I think he definitely belongs. Alrighty, guys. Well, next up tonight, guys, I kind of gave my original G1 and re-release vintage Transformers a new home over here in my shelf system over here on this side of the Plastic Planet, where I used to have my fish tanks at. Those are now gone. There's my Indiana Jones display, but right below it, I did put my Transformers, and I kind of wanted to make sort of an homage, you might say, to some of the original product catalogs that we used to gaze at when we were kids back in the mid 80s, and see all these awesome Transformers and pick out which ones we wanted for Christmas or our birthdays or whatever. And so I kind of wanted to kind of create that sort of environment that they used to photograph these guys on. And so I did that using just some insulation foam. And again, I painted it, put a primer on it, and then added some detail. And I also, obviously cut it using a foam cutter to kind of give it that faux kind of rock look to it. And I spent a lot of time on the detailing and did a lot of dry brushing on it, and it turned out I really didn't need to because the figures pretty much cover the entire thing, but it still looks really, really awesome. So as you guys can see, I kind of have them separated between my Decepticon side over here. Let's keep Galvatron's head in the shot back there. And then, of course, my Autobots over here. So yeah, looking really, really rad. I'm not going to go through each and every one of these guys because that would take a while. And, if you're a fan of the Transformers, you know who these guys are, or at least most of them. Again, all these figures are either from my childhood or they are re-releases. Some of them are kind of, you can kind of tell which ones are re-releases just by looking at them, and which ones are from the 80s. Like that Superion is definitely from the 80s. The Prowl, the Hound, the Brawn, those are all re-releases. That Optimus Prime is a re-release. Yeah, so the Red Alert there is a re-release, as well as the Smoke Screen. The Huffer's an original, but he wasn't mine. That Hot Rod there was mine from the 80s. He's a little dusty, yikes. And then, of course, there is the re-release of Hot Rod that came out just like last year, and that's in the 1986 movie Paint Apps there, looking really, really cool. My Dinobots, those are from my childhood. Those are great, as well as Ultra Magnus there. He's looking great. And then coming over to the Decepticon side, the Megatron Soundwave, those are both 2000s Takara re-releases. As well as the Thundercracker there is a Hasbro 2000s re-release. The Starscream there is a recent re-release from the 1986, again in the 1986 kind of paint apps there, looking really, really nice. So yeah, looking really, really cool here. Oh, my Predacons, those are from my childhood. That Devastator is from my childhood. The Insecticons I actually just bought. I just picked up these Insecticons at my comic book store, and they are actually I think those are a Hasbro re-release from the mid-2000s, but it's just nice to see see Insecticons there with their all their chrome parts looking all beautiful and shiny. So yeah, I was really stoked to get those guys. That Trypticon's one of my the crown jewels of my Transformers collection. That is from my childhood. I love that Trypticon a lot. Scourge is from my childhood as well, and that Galvatron's from my childhood. Then conversely over on this side, the Metroplex was actually featured in a video several years back here on the Plastic Planet, but that's a mid-2000s Takara re-release, and he's really cool because he's got all chrome parts and rubber wheels and whatnot. So yeah, looking really, really cool. So anyway, guys, that's just a little swing around my G1 vintage, or basically re-released vintage Transformers. They needed a new home. They were kind of sequestered over in the corner here in the arcade/archive room, and they were kind of, I don't know, they weren't properly displayed, and now they are. And so I'm really, really stoked to have them down here. They're kind of on a lower shelf, so some of them are hidden a little bit from me, but again, they look really, really good. Above them, as I mentioned, there's my Indiana Jones shelf, and then there is my Tomy Enterprise up there that I've actually had that ugly secondary stand on that I swore I wouldn't use, but I've been using it because I've been moving shit around down here and I didn't want to knock it off the shelf, so it's sort of there just as a safety restraint, but I'm going to be taking that off soon. And then above there, I don't know if I've showed this, guys. I think I did show this in my last video, but anyway, I've got just sort of an homage to 1980s robots and 1980s technology up here. Look, there's Kit there with Michael Knight looking cool. There's a giant Tomy robot. There's my Johnny 5 that I bought off Etsy. That's a homemade 3D printed Johnny 5 that I bought from a very nice lady off Etsy. And then back below there's my Go Lion Lion Force reissue. It's basically a reissue of the old Matchbox Voltron, but I've had him for quite a few years too, my die-cast Voltron there. And I don't know if I showed this up, but this is really cool. This came out from, gosh, I can't remember what company put this out. But anyway, I just recently picked it up from Big Bad Toy Store on one of their sales. And of course, this Fleischer Superman display there. You got Superman and Lois Lane and the giant killer robot. Looking really, really cool from the 1940s cartoon. I absolutely love that. There's Clark Kent in the phone booth. And then down here is this awesome, like, furnace with some Tomy robots down there as well. I got to throw in the Tomy robots from the 1970s. I love those guys. And then over here is my black hole stuff with Maximilian and Vincent. So, yeah, looking really, really dynamite. But, yeah, that Superman set is really, really cool. And I'm sorry, it's failing me what company made that at the moment. Maybe maybe I can put that up on the screen for you guys, the packaging, because I think I did shoot secondary B-roll of that when I did unbox it on my own. But yeah, looking good. Looking so good. So yeah, these shelves have come along absolutely beautifully. And again, I love doing these vlog style videos because I can just kind of sit back, chill, and show you guys my shit like we're all hanging out here in my house having a beer. And that's one of my very favorite parts of doing these videos. Yeah, it's really, really rad. Let's check out some He-Man shit next. Alrighty, so I did spend some calories on this piece a couple months back when I made it. That, of course, is my homemade 1/6 scale Fright Zone, Hordax Fright Zone in 1/6 scale. And just a few additions to this. I did add the back cage to it. I don't know if that was there when I originally showed it off, so I just kind of put together some sticks from the yard and tied them up with some stuff. And anyway, that's cool. And then I did order some more skeletal parts, some 1/6 scale skeleton parts, just to make it more spooky, because it is the Fright Zone, and the Fright Zone needs to be extra fucking spooky. So I think I've achieved that. But yeah, that's looking really, really good, and I love that display so much with that Mando 1/6 scale He-Man in there. And then speaking of Mando 1/6, I did pick up Skeletor. I picked him up a couple weeks ago, was hanging out having drinks with my good buddy Travi. And we were just talking about Mando, He-Man, watching some basketball, and you know, when you're hanging out with your buds, having drinks, a lot of times collectibles get ordered. It's just the way things are. It's just because we're fucking dumb animals, and we do that kind of shit. But yeah, this looks really, really cool. This is a fantastic looking piece. Yeah, I don't know what else to say about him. He's 1/6 scale. It's kind of limited articulation on these Mando figures. They have a much more heavier plastic feel to them than, say, a Hot Toys figure might. They do kind of feel more like traditional action figures, even though they kind of have a premium price point on them. But that's not to say they aren't premium, because they are premium and they are really, really cool. Again, I'm not down talking them at all, but they are more action figure-esque, and in a way that's kind of a good thing, because when I mean more action figure-esque, I mean they are more sturdier, if that makes any sense. But anyway, yeah, he is looking really, really cool. I dig him. Came with two different head sculpts, kind of more of a Mattel vintage toy head sculpt, but I put the sort of realistic spooky skeleton or a skull head sculpt of him on there. And then, of course, there are both the artworks on both the boxes from the He-Man and the Skeletor. I don't typically keep boxes, and I probably won't have this displayed like this forever. I'll probably at some point give him Skeletor a nice diorama like I did the Mando HeMan over here. But for right now, this is how he is. But yeah, looking so good. That just looks awesome. I'm digging that a lot. Alrighty guys, and the shelf above them, these guys were previously down below, but I moved them up here. I've added a few more Revelation / Revolution / New Eternia figures. I think I got that right, guys. I'm not a He-Man Masters of the Universe aficionado. Very casual in as far as my fandom for that IP, but again, I added Spikor, found him on Big Bad Toy Store for pretty damn cheap. Picked up Spikor, and then I also picked up New Eternia Trapjaw, and he's pretty rad back there. And you guys can also see I've got Faker there in full like cyborg mode, which I think is really cool. There's He-Man. And then I picked up Revelations Man-at-Arms, and he looks really cool. And then even Revelations Tila, and I think actually she's a really damn nice looking action figure. Looking really, really cool there. And there's Dungeons and Dragons Kid. He shouldn't be in there, but he is. With shirtless, powered up, Savage He-Man, and then of course there's Snout Spout back there. I think I showed off Snout Spout in my last video, but he's looking really, really cool. And yeah, and I just have some more fun over here with Beast Man trying to whip 35th or 40th anniversary He-Man there on top of Battle Cat. So yeah, looking really, really fun, guys. Just having fun with this He-Man stuff. I think it's just a fun IP to collect, and I'm enjoying it a lot. But yeah, here's just kind of a brief look at my He-Man shelves as they are today. Showed off this shelf in a previous video as well, so I'm not going to spend too much time on it. Although I don't know if I pointed out that I did pick up from a third-party seller off eBay. I did get the lava waterfall there, or lava fall, I guess it would technically be, for Snake Mountain, and yeah, that looks really fucking cool. So yeah, anyway, that's the code of the, let's get you guys caught up on my He-Man stuff. Yeah, pretty damn awesome. Oh shit, yeah, and I also picked up for really super cheap, for like 15 bucks at Walmart on sale, Retro Play fucking Moss Man. So yeah, he's really cool. I'm digging that a lot. Need to get him out, but yeah, he's looking cool.